Last week, there's two scenarios, two possibilities, two ways of the return. You had a question? No. So there's two possibilities. We called it, we'll sum it up for now, the miraculous redemption. God totally interferes with the laws, the running of the regular world of nature, and redeems the Jewish people. We're back in our land with the kingdom. Or the natural, slow blood, sweat, and tears. And that's what we'll bring today to Ari. No. Now we'll continue where we left off for those that were here. The first source in the upper right corner, a little background from the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. There's very few people in the history of the Jewish people that were given this title, this epithet. We know we have Avraham. What do we call Avraham? Avinu. Moshe Rabbeinu. So everyone, like the rabbis, the huge history, people were given these certain names and titles that are befitting. And a lot of Jews that were holy throughout history. But there are only a handful that were called HaKadosh, the holy, as part of their name. Rav Eliyahu was very makpid once. Someone said, he quoted the Or HaChaim, he was shocked. How can you say the Or HaChaim HaKadosh? It's part of his name, his essence. This Or HaChaim HaKadosh, Rav Chaim ben Attar, living in 1696 to 1743. Was living in Morocco, came to Eretz Yisrael. A lot to be spoken about him and elaborated on this, why he's called the Kadosh, what made him deserving of this title. Anyone know the others that were called HaKadosh? The Ari HaKadosh? Who? The Shla HaKadosh? Any others? There's a few more, not that many. So, maybe we'll get to that as we go on. Unique personalities buried his grave in Har HaZeitim, that even after his death, it's an amazing phenomenon. As you know, the Mount of Olives, the cemetery there was very, when we weren't in control there, how the other nations take care of not only our holy places, but even the graveyard. They totally destroyed, the Arabs destroyed the grave sites and the tombstones. And when they came to the gravesite of the tombstone of Or HaChaim HaKadosh, every time they tried to destroy it, something weird would happen. Some guy would come and all of a sudden he would either die, collapse, or whatever. Come with a tractor, try to bulldoze it, nothing. Nothing worked. And they have a tradition. The Arabs know to stay away from this. Is like a holy man. They stay away from this grave. They know, again, Or HaChaim HaKadosh. And his grave is still a center of people come and pray with all the different, from all different groups, religious, secular, Sephardi, Ashkenazi. You can see, you go up to the Har HaZeitim there, day and night. It's a center because it's holy, again, this holy person in his life and in his, even after passing. But why do I bring this down now? This is his commentary. He has a commentary on the Torah. He has other books on Halakha, but he's famous for his book on the Torah called the Or HaChaim. Thus named the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. Again, his name is Rav Chaim ben Attar. So those who can read the Hebrew, I'll just read it quickly with you and translate as we go on. The upper right corner. Everyone has a sheet? Except for you. Because again, referring to the Gemara that we just saw, or we mentioned last week, in Sanhedrin, of the two ways of redemption. Bi'ita achishena. I will hasten it. It will come in its time, or I will hasten it. On that, the Or HaChaim HaKadosh says, She'im tiyeh hagula be'emtzeut zchut Yisrael, that if the redemption comes through the merit of the Jewish people, if we're worthy. It's a question what that means to be worthy. To put on tefillin, to keep kosher, or maybe there's another aspect of worthiness, spiritual perspective, an outlook on the world, a vision, a life force. That we'll have to see what that worthiness is. But he says, when it comes, when you open up the gates and let that divine content come into our lives, into this world, then then the redemption will be in a wondrous way, majestic, beautiful wonders, with wonders, and the Redeemer will come from heaven with signs and wonders and miracles, like it says, elaborated in the book of the Zohar. Masha'en King, what is not so, the other option. Keshetiyah gula mitzad haketz, when the redemption comes as the deadline way, when we weren't worthy. Right? The Gemara says, if lo zachu, if you're not worthy, then it comes. Doesn't not you can hold it up, it won't come. The redemption will come. The world was all, we mentioned, I don't want to elaborate again, how all of creation was created to reach this point. All of the history is just the unfolding of this plan to bring about that ultimate perfection of creation according to what God has in store, not some human fantasy of some utopian dream, but the ideal that God has in store for creation, for mankind. That will be. All of creation was just to reach that. Nothing can hold that up. But how it comes is up to us, not if it comes. So that's what the Or HaChaim HaKadosh says here, that if we're worthy and we work with it, then it can flow. But if you try to cover the pot and then the pressure just builds up and builds up, you close the faucet, that energy is waiting and pushing and building up, then it will come. Then it will come, but in a different way. If the Jews aren't worthy. Then it'll be in a different manner. Then it will come like it says, and that's what he brings down our Gemara from, that it will come like a poor person riding on a donkey. And now he explains it. What does that mean? Ukeneged gulat bi'ita. This is the bi'ita, right? There's the bi'ita achishena. It will come in its time. That's bi'ita, in its time. 8 is time. And there's the achishena, referring to the gula in its time, which is hinted at in the verse. And this is, as you see, the commentary from the Or HaChaim HaKadosh in Bamidbar, the prophecies of Bilam. And he there has prophecies of how the Jews will be redeemed. And that Bilam says, Ashurenu velo ata. I see it, but it is not now. It is not ata. And he says on that, Bilam, V'kam shevet Misrael. They will rise up, and the usual translation is they'll rise up a scepter, a staff, or a tribe in Israel. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh explains, what does that mean? What is this redemption that comes when we're not worthy, in its time, the deadline way? So I proceeded and explained to you that's the natural redemption. But here, you'll see it inside. Where is this taken from? He says they'll rise up a group in the Jewish people. Perush yakum shevet echad miYisrael. They'll rise up a group, an organization. B'derech hakamim ba'olam derech hateva. The way that groups organize and rise up in a natural fashion. Call it Zionism, the Jewish nationalist movement. Not something from heaven, from man. A movement like people got together and organized, b'derech hateva, in a natural way. That's the reference to the Gula Bi'ita. That's this Kam Shevet Misrael. That's this final redemption that comes even if we're not worthy. It comes in like I said, a natural way.